Ho, ho, ho! Happy November! It's that weird time of year between Halloween and Christmas. This is our first recording of this show after Halloween, so we're kind of in postpartum depression, or I guess it's post-mortem depression since it's Halloween. I'm Andrew Fantasia. Hello.
I'm Batmanda. And
you sure are. Welcome to Tales from the Treehouse, everyone. The podcast where we go over the first 20 Treehouse of Horror episodes at length, and then we're eventually going to rank them all, or rank our favorites, our top something. I don't know. I'm still going through Halloween withdrawal. Don't come at me. Leave me be. It's November 2nd. The Toronto Blue Jays lost last night after, down to the wire. I swear, there's more drama in that last few games of baseball than there were in actual baseball motion pictures.
Yeah, it was a whirlwind. I don't know if whoever, watching is a fan or partakes because it's the World Series, but yeah, it was pretty intense. It's probably why I'm wearing a mask. I didn't sleep. I had nightmares, but we all had it.
I used to be a member of the Junior Jays fan club when I was a wee puff, and I would get little comic books from them. And I can't believe that was so long ago since the last time they had a World Series to their name. But you know what? At least we had The Simpsons to cheer us up, and at least we had Halloween to cheer us up. What did you do for Halloween, Amanda?
I dressed up as a person who was partially sick and just rotted on their couch for Halloween. That was my costume. But I'm Batmanda today for our special podcast because it's Halloween, or closest to Halloween. So yeah. How about you, Andrew? What'd you do?
We've been taking my step niece trick-or-treating, but she went with her friends this year because she's in high school now. So we just kind of hung out. We watched a scary movie. And then last night, even though it was November 1st, we went there's a place here in Toronto called Castle Loma, which is an actual castle. And every October they do like a big Halloween haunt thing. And I'd never been. So we went there. It was our first time going there. And it was really cool. They walk you through the castle and people pop out at you and they go ooga booga, and there's actors and they're all in character. And there's this one girl who's she's in this room on the other side of glass, and you're looking down at her and it's like a big Victorian bedroom, and she's just chained to the bed and she's reaching out for you, and it's really spooky. But my favorite character was the Bride of Frankenstein because she had attitude. She would yell at people. She had a big cattle prod that actually had electricity in it. So I don't know how safe this was. But yeah, she's she's behind a fence and she's poking the fence and shocking and screaming at people. And you're in this dank lab full of chopped up body parts, and it's just gross. And Dr. Frankenstein is cutting off hands. And as we were walking through, I commented to my friends, I said, "This is still better than the American healthcare system." And after I said that, the Bride of Frankenstein turned and looked at me and she yelled, "Try something original next time."
Love it. Go Lady Frankenstein.
That actor was pretty cool. Whoever you are, Bride of Frankenstein, if you're listening, you're all right. And you tell Castle Loma, you guys need better wages. Because we looked it up after. We were like, how much are these Castle Loma actors making? How much would you say, Amanda, if you had to guess? An actor, probably non-union, they're working a night at this haunt. How much do you think they're making an hour?
I'm gonna go $10 an hour, maybe lower even.
Ooh, okay, that's harsh. That's harsh for one. Yeah, they're pulling 20.
Okay, that's good. Much better. Yeah.
I thought that they would make at around 35 to 40, considering they're on their feet and it's cold out and everything.
Makeup.
Yeah, they can't break characters. I feel 20 is still less than
low.
For that.
Yeah, agreed.
You're a castle. Pay your people. You've got to
pay your people. Yeah, or no kings. No. Sorry. Right. Yeah. No, that's great.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I haven't done a haunt in a long ass time, so that was a good way to spend Halloween. But another great way to spend Halloween is watching Treehouse of Horror, which we've been doing a bunch this month because of this show. And which one are we talking about today?
Today we're on season 10, which means it is episode 9 of Treehouse of Horror. As we know, original season of The Simpsons didn't have a Halloween episode, so we have that weird math that we're always working on. But yeah, Season 10, episode 9 of Treehouse of Horror. I think the original air date was 98, if I'm correct.
That's right. Yeah, October 25th, 1998, which I think was the summer of I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Sure was. It sure was. Yeah. And I know Scream came out in like 96, 97. So, yeah. It was big. The 90s were pretty big for horror franchises. People don't realize they kind of revived a lot of them um, and started a bunch of new ones, right? Like Scream being one of the main ones. Yeah.
And one of the longest lasting ones because we got Scream 7 coming
Yeah, we got
on the pipeline.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I was always a big fan, and I watched the recent trailer, and I already have theories on what's gonna happen. You drop some Easter eggs in there, and we'll see. We'll see.
I'm pretty sure in this one the killer is going to be Ghostface.
Yeah, I think so too. I have a suspicion as well. Yeah.
All right, so we start this episode off with a cool intro, which I'm surprised it took them 9 episodes to do this, but your intro has the typical Simpsons intro, except everything goes wrong and there's blood and Homer gets run over and poor Lisa goes headfirst into the house. This is a wild introduction. And then we get our first story, Hell to Pay, which is such a great play on
Entendre. Yeah.
I love it. Hell to Pay. About a haunted toupee belonging to Snake, because Snake got the death penalty for just robbing or smoking in the Quickie Mart, rather.
Yeah. Third strike.
Right
to the chamber. Yeah.
And in what might be the most disturbing thing we've seen on The Simpsons so far is we just get a full shot of Snake getting zapped in the electric chair. I remember walking into I don't know if it was Party City or Spirit Halloween once, like about 10 years ago, and they had like an animatronic of just a guy in an electric chair, and like you watch him, and I'm just like, I don't want to see that. That's really disturbing to watch. Like, I don't know if I would want that on my lawn.
Yeah, it's funny. This sketch, the timing around, I feel like the timing that it came out, a couple of things. There were a few movies that were sort of play on body part, like sub horror, like the genre. So there was a movie that was called Body Parts, and it was about like, and probably not a lot of people have seen this. It was about a guy who he has like an injury and he loses his arm, and he receives an arm from like an executed prisoner, basically like a donation, and he starts to take on the characteristics of the prisoner. And it was also around the time I feel like a lot of people were more aware of like capital punishment, and people were like, it was a hotbed political topic, like especially in the US, like they were discussing like, should they have like public execution? Should we be televising? Like a lot of things were on the news for a lot of high profile killers who were being executed. I feel like the 90s was probably the last major decade where they were happening, and it was really highly publicized. So it's an interesting interesting sketch to include. Yeah, it's great. I like how they played on both that, again, the horror subgenre, like that movie Body Parts, and just in general, very hot topic.
Yeah, it's true. When you think about it, like it obviously it's something that I don't even know if any states still do it. I'm sure there's at least one that's still like, yeah, Texas probably. There's probably a guy just waiting by the chair, like, come on. But my uncle, he used to be a truck driver, and I think I want to say it was Jeffrey Dahmer. Did Jeffrey Dahmer get executed? One of those big, like, well-known serial killers who got executed.
I'm pretty sure someone killed Dahmer in jail.
Okay,
like,
so
they didn't. Might have been like the Green River Killer. I'm pretty sure he might have been Ted Bundy was, I'm pretty sure, executed.
Maybe it was Ted Bundy.
Yeah.
It was one of the ones that's like well known, and he, my uncle, at the time he was driving through America on his truck route, and he happened to be in front of the jail while it was happening, and like he saw the crowd and everything, and like he stopped and like had a cigarette and was just kind of standing around. So he says, like, he always tells us, like, if you ever see footage of that, like news footage, and you see the outside of the jail, he's like, you could probably see me there having a cigarette next to my truck,
just taking it in. Piece of history. Piece of Americana, right?
Yeah, literally. Uh,
Scary. Yeah.
it is scary, and it's scary even to watch a Simpsons character like Snake get the chair, but he does, and then his last word, dude, seals his fate, and he joins the eternal choir with Bleeding Gums and all the other dead Simpsons characters. But his hair goes to Homer. Looks pretty good on him too. As Marge says, if it wasn't for the fact that his fly was open, he'd look just like Roger Moore.
Just like
Uh,
Roger Moore. Such a great joke.
but of course, the hair affects his brain, and it is genuinely disturbing to see Homer Simpson sit up and then to see his eyes kind of narrow, and you can tell that's not Homer anymore. And Snake's voice is coming out of him, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill you, little dude," and you're
Yeah.
just like, "No, that's not right. This ain't cool." And the family has to contend with a possessed Homer, and thankfully they manage to rip the hair off. Well, Homer does. He manages to overcome it, and the hair dramatically, in a very Butch Cassidy kind of way, dies in a blaze of bullets. And it takes a long ass time for that hair to die, but it finally dies, and the family is saved. But at what cost?
Yeah, I really like that it tries to survive on its own. Like it really is parasitic and like tries to run away. It's yeah, I really like how they anthropomorphized it. Like it had arms and legs and was trying to escape. Yeah, and it was. I think one of my favorite visuals in that sketch too is where like it shows it infiltrating Homer's brain. It's like wow, the biology of this is amazing. I love it. But yeah, it's kind of funny too, like to your point about how you see, when Homer is obviously under the influence and it's taking control, like the shadow self kind of comes out, like and it's funny because I didn't really think about it. Obviously, we all know the character, but until it was really Homer's version of it, of Snake, so to speak, it's like, wow, he's really like a 1950s greaser, like with the smokes like under his arm and like, yeah.
As soon as he becomes conscious, he's like, "I gotta put smokes."
Yeah, I got about the smokes. He's got the hair, and like, yeah, it's kind of funny to see that those characteristics adopted by Homer, and just the slight differences. But yeah, it's still not quite as scary as Snake, but I think he pulled it off. It was a good play on, again, that movie and how the body parts like they take over, right? Such a funny thing, and I think during this decade was when like transplants were becoming more popular. Yeah, right. Plants were becoming a thing. So it's kind of a funny play on that medical advancement and like how it was still kind of a new, somewhat arena, right? Like we can play with this. Like what do we know? We don't really know a lot, but I know that like in the news, it's funny, like realistic stories where people have had transplanted body parts, like things like this similar have happened, like or like similarities between like the person, say someone's passed away and someone got their heart, they like married the other person's original wife, and then like they ended up like suicide in the same way the husband did, who whose heart he got or something like that. It's like, wow, this is very interesting. Maybe there is some truth to it.
That's a great point. Yeah, I never thought of that in connection with this. Like, you hear stories, and I don't know if they're like urban myths or whatever, but like, you get somebody's liver or somebody's heart, and like you have dreams about their life or something, and
Yeah.
you hear that story where it's like, I kept having this recurring dream after my transplant about walking in this park, and then I went to visit the family of the person I got the transplant from, and that park was right next to their house. Things like that. Those stories are kind of everywhere. I don't know how much they've been, twisted by the broken telephone of society, and how much of them hold any truth. But yeah, there's something to that.
Yeah,
There's
there's something to it.
And there's another movie with similar, which fits your Batman theme right now, with Michael Caine. It's called The Hand. Have you seen that one?
No.
It's really similar to Body Parts. Like he's I think he's an author, or he's a painter.
Mhm.
So like his job requires him to use his hands, and he gets in a car accident and his hand gets like lopped off. And
Oh,
then
It's an older movie, right? Like,
Yeah, it is old.
yeah, yes. Okay, yeah.
And then I can't remember if he gets a transplant or what, but I'm like the hand is killing people, and he's like, "That's not my hand anymore. I lost my hand," and it's quite alright.
Perfect. That was great. The Michael Caine. Wait for woman. No. At the end of the Dark Knight.
I have this dream where I'm sitting on the banks of the Seine. Yeah, you're across from me.
With a woman. Yeah. God. He's just great. Anyway. Yeah, no.
He's out of retirement.
Right? He's getting up. I think he's going to be in the new Vin Diesel movie, like 98 or something. Like 98 years old. Yeah. The Last Witch Hunter. The second Last Witch Hunter, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a great movie. Shout out to Michael Caine.
I haven't seen The Last Witch Hunter. I should watch that.
It's actually good. My mom loves it. She has watched it many times. Yeah, it's good. I also liked Season of the Witch. That was a good one. It's got Ron Perlman in it.
Oh, that's right. And the Vin Diesel one. That's what he uses his D&D character, right? Is that The Last Witch Hunter?
Yeah, I think so. I think I read something about that.
Yeah.
It's like, what if I just take my character and make a movie about
it? Yeah. Your voice is on point.
All right. So tell us, Amanda, about our story number 2.
All right. So sketch 2 is called Terror of Tiny Toon, sorry. So this sketch sees Bart and Lisa a little too old to go trick-or-treating, or not wanting to go trick-or-treating with Marge and Maggie. And, Marge being the ultimate censor, so to speak, and worrying about what her kids are watching. She hears that Bart and Lisa are excited to see it and watch the scariest Itchy and Scratchy Halloween episode. And of course, she's like, no, that you guys can't be watching that. So but to ensure that they won't watch it, she removes the battery from the remote controller. I don't know, back in the day, it was like impossible. Even now, it's impossible. Or probably even trickier. Like, TVs used to have dials. Like, anyway, now it's like weird hidden buttons on like the screen. But yeah, if you have a remote, it's hard to use a television set. So in her absence, they find, they're looking for batteries. They find a piece of, looks like, something from the power plant. It's probably plutonium. And they stick it in the remote. And, some trouble starts to ensue. They start playing with the settings, they change colors, and then they get zapped into, as we know, very violent, Itchy and Scratchy land, where they're basically trying to avoid being murdered by Itchy and Scratchy while simultaneously trying to escape the show. Homer plays a big part in this episode because he's sitting in front of the TV after Bart and Lisa kind of get sucked in. And he's just involuntarily and unknowingly playing along, like changing the channels. So you see Bart and, Lisa trying to avoid Itchy and Scratchy. They then have another, iterance where they're going into the real world. So you see them kind of dropping in as Homer's changing the channels. They go into, I think it's like a Live with Regis and Kathy, which is the precursor to Live with Mark and Kelly Ripa. Yeah. They took over for Kathy, and then Regis, he got a little old, he retired, and yeah. So it's funny because this, I feel like, more than a lot of Simpsons episodes, it really like dates itself by that inclusion. It's very 90s. Live with Regis and Kelly was, super duper 90s establishment and, very big 90s morning staples for a lot of people. Similar to the news, but yeah, maybe that's why they included it. Kathy Lee was kind of scary. Regis was kind of getting old. I'm like, just a joke. But yeah, I think they broke the fourth wall on this one again. Like, it was more of, I would say, this sketch sort of embodied just a regular Simpsons episode with the inclusion of Itchy and Scratchy. Like, it's kind of a bottle episode. Like, they're in the house. They're kind of in the TV world. There's very few other Simpsons characters in it outside of the family. But it's it could have easily just been a regular Simpsons episode with, the exception of, mentioning that it's Halloween, which they don't do in a lot of episodes. You mentioned in our last podcast, but there is specific reference. Like, this is a Halloween sketch. It's Halloween. They're going and watching Halloween shows. So it was a good play on and a fourth wall kind of breaking with, the episode being a little violent, right? Like, you see at one point Bart gets like all of his, he gets eaten by piranhas, and then they use the, the magic remote to rewind it. And that's one of my favorite parts. How she rewinds it. But yeah, it's a little more violent. Like, you see more violence between Itchy and Scratchy. They're actively pursuing Bart and Lisa. And yeah, it was an interesting sketch. Yeah.
I think what I loved most about this sketch was once they get zapped in, it hits you, the viewer, because the viewer is so familiar with the show and the world. And, we've seen all the Itchy and Scratchies, and we laugh at the violence of it. But as soon as you see Bart and Lisa in Itchy and Scratchy land, it dawns on you like, oh shit, there's nobody I would rather be stuck with anybody other than Itchy and Scratchy. Like, that's terrifying. What they're capable of. Yeah. So, like, to see them in there, you're like, wow, this is a perfect idea for a Halloween episode, to get them stuck in that world of just sheer violence. And, the axe being thrown at Bart's head, and he has his laugh until he feels the blood trickle down. It's like, oh, this is serious. And it reminded me of, I don't know if you ever played it. There were a bunch of Sega Genesis Simpsons games back in the day, and I remember renting one. I want to say it was called Bart's Nightmare. And do you remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah, he would fall asleep, and then you would be faced with like two different colored doors, and you would pick one. And I think there were like maybe 7 different levels, and each level was represented by a colored door. And it was totally random which ones you would get. And I think the yellow door takes you into an Itchy and Scratchy cartoon where they're chasing you and trying to kill you. And that game was so flippin' hard. Like, I never finished a single level. And that level, I remember just being chased by Itchy and Scratchy, and they're like throwing knives at you and upping handles on you. And I'm like, oh my God. And it was just giving me flashbacks to that. And, I'm sitting there, 10-year-old Andrew, whatever. And I'm like, I only have a weekend with this. And then I have to bring it back to Blockbuster, and I can't finish a goddamn level. And it was just, those games were brutal. Masochism.
I remember the micro mini Bart where you're like, he's in himself or something as a part of that game.
I think so. Yeah, I think that was the red door. I don't know how I remember.
Yeah, I think it was the red door, because the yellow door was Itchy and Scratchy. I remember that. There were different games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think one of them you were like Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Bartzilla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah. No, it's funny that you say that. Is when they were starting to come into getting into games, which was smart because everyone was obsessed with The Simpsons. It was really exploding. But I remember too, that point in the 90s, again, with like even the previous Simpsons Trios of Horror, where they had like the DreamWorks pre-Toy Story, where Simpson, like Homer 3D, right?
Yeah.
So they were doing the opposite in movies. So like there was like Who Framed Roger Rabbit, where they were putting people into fully cartoon world, and like Cool World, where they're Brad Pitt, where he's like the detective and he gets put in the like animated world. Those movies, I mean, Who Framed Roger Rabbit was probably way bigger, but people were trying to play more with animation, and so it's kind of I guess a nod to those movies as well, which were sort of big in the 90s. I don't know. I was a big fan of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. I remember when that came out. That was the 80s, but it probably took a while for, again, things to pick up momentum. There weren't as many movies back in the day. How can we incorporate this? So yeah, it's like a scarier version of that, but to your point, yeah, terrifying. Imagine being sucked into like the Roadrunner versus the Coyote. Like, oh my gosh, you'd be screwed.
Yeah, I would just huddle in a corner and cry.
Yeah.
And I can't believe how long it's been since the last Simpsons video game. They made the last game to like coincide with the movie. So it's been 20 years almost. And that was a decent game. It was fun. I hope they make another one for the second movie. There you go. There's your challenge, Fox. Do something. Do something with your IP.
Do it. Do it. Yeah.
So that leads us into story number 3, Starship Poopers. Another great title. These titles are on point today. This starts with Maggie behaving kind of strangely. Something's wrong with little Maggie, and she's not herself. And she begins to exhibit signs that she may not even be fully human. Her first baby tooth comes in, and it is quite a tooth. She loses her baby legs.
That's my favorite. Marge, Maggie lost her baby legs. The best.
Oh, that's Homer for you. And she trades them in for a few slimy green tentacles, and it is revealed that Kang and Kodos are in fact related to her, and Kang is dramatic pause. Her father. They love their dramatic pauses. I love whenever Kang and Kodos are in the story, and they're not just a cameo. Whenever they're in it for the long haul is great. So yes, Kang reveals that he did in fact kidnap Marge once upon a time, and he used some kind of space ray to inseminate her. And he's been doing this all across the galaxy, and now he's going and rekindling his relationship with these people and his children, his seed. He's basically kind of like Kurt Russell's character in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. But the Simpsons aren't having it. They're like, no, we don't like this, Kang. So they take it to the biggest authority on planet Earth in times like this, Jerry Springer. And like you said, talk about dating this episode. They just planted a big old flag that said 1998, and that was that.
Yeah. The stronghold that Jerry Springer had, though. And then Maury, like, story for Maury, like, it's all parental tests, right? Like DNA tests. So I really liked that they included it. And at the same token, like, watching those stories, even though, you know, they may be slightly massaged for TV, but like, it's still horrific. Like, how do you not know? Those poor children watching back, like, unreal. The level of cringe and also like just empathy I feel for those kids. It's scary, but yeah, it's funny how they were able to, you know, make it comedic. And yeah, I love the whole abduction scene where she's like, oh yeah, I guess I thought it was a dream. But the choices that they give her for the locations are amazing. Like the Camaro or like the alley.
I
guess I'll take the alley. Yeah.
And it was kind of fun from a totally, this gets not so mature, but I don't care. It was just a fun little treat to see the Simpsons, once they're on Jerry Springer, to see them just cussing up a storm and having the bleeps over them. There's just something so charming about that, being part of the Simpsons world where they're fully cussing and we're just getting all the bleeps, and just ending that whole segment with Marge just going, I'm so embarrassed.
Yeah. So great. So great. Something that like half of the people on those shows would actually never say.
Yeah.
They never say. They're just excited to be on TV. It's like their claim to fame. Marge is like the only one probably ever say that. But yeah, it's funny. Poor Marge.
That show's not still on, is it?
I feel like there's another, like, I guess the next generation of it. I feel like Jerry Springer's security guy had his own show, like the bald guy, Steve, I think. I don't know. I'm not a part of that. I don't subscribe to that part of the zeitgeist as closely as I used to, but yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I can imagine, though, in 98, if somebody was a big Simpsons fan and a big Jerry fan, what that must have been like seeing this. Like, what a dream that must have been.
Yeah. A collision of culture. Like,
yeah. That's chocolate and peanut butter, baby. That's what
right there. Yep.
And then that ends our episode. The Jerry Springer show does not solve any of their problems, and Homer and Kang continue to fight it out. But then Maggie is evolving to the point where she's speaking in Kang's voice. So we have another instance of Maggie speaking, but it's not quite Maggie and it's not quite canon. So no Elizabeth Taylor saying daddy.
Right? I was going to say, Maggie has been voiced by such like epic people, and she hasn't really spoken. But when she does, it's James Earl Jones or it's Elizabeth Taylor or yeah.
I hope they give her at least one more word in the Simpsons movie part 2.
They have to.
Something. Yeah.
Yeah, they've got to.
Well, that is Treehouse of Horror number 9. We got to talk now about our favorite quote / moment. This was a big one. This was tough to choose for me. You know yours offhand?
Yeah, I would definitely say it's the baby legs quote. Well, like, as Homer would be that inept that he wouldn't know anything about babies. So if a baby's legs were to come off, he'd be like, "Oh yeah, their teeth fall out." Like, and it just reminds me of like my dad and how little he knew about like me when I was a kid, and like how heavily you rely on the mother and just knowing everything. And like, yeah, I loved that joke. Also, when her tooth comes out and they're like, "Ew," this is like just that sketch. That yeah, I like those quotes.
That's true. The whole family is so grossed out by that too.
But like from the first sketch, the part with Dr. Nick where he's like, "Oh, these drugs will make this procedure painless and it'll be great," and then he gives the drugs to himself and then Navajo her out. I think that was probably like those two are on par with my favorite jokes. Yeah.
I forgot about that one. That one's great. Another perfect example of just people in Springfield are so bad at their jobs.
So bad.
I juggled a few, but I think at the end of the day, I went with at the end of Starship Poopers, where they're outside the studio and Marge says, "I can't believe it. Jerry Springer couldn't solve our problem." And Lisa says, "And now he's dead."
Rip Springer, because it's true now, all these years later. Prophetic again.
They did it again, Simpson. I don't know.
Done it again.
It was Lisa just so nonchalantly just, and now he's dead.
Yeah.
Lisa is just she's the best character. I love her so much.
Great.
All right, we got to rank these stories, Amanda. It's a tough one. I'll go first with my number 3 here.
Yeah.
I put for my number 3, The Terror of Tiny Toon.
Same.
And we matching? Yeah.
Yeah, we're matching.
Twinsies. All right.
Twinsies.
I think with this one, you've just got 2 other really strong contenders with just more jokes packed in. This one didn't really stand a chance. It was less jokey and just more heavy on the violence and like the shock humor. And I think considering the fact that, like I mentioned, it's got this concept that is really terrifying. Like, oh my God, I'm trapped in a room with Itchy. That's frightening. I think they could have gone more with that concept. They could have milked that better and had more fun with the horror of it and with the comedy of it. And I think it just kind of fell short of what it should have been. That's why it's number 3.
Yeah, I think I agree with you fully. And I think they missed an opportunity too to make an Itchy and Scratchy version of Lisa and Bart. Like changed their animation a little bit while they were in the animation within The Simpsons. Like it could have been a little, you know what I mean? And I get to the point, like the characters on Itchy and Scratchy are the same animation, but they could have just tweaked them a bit. Like use the older Simpson animation, right? Because we're in like season 10. They've evolved, right?
Yeah.
So it would have maybe played in a little bit more to Homer not being as like you would recognize that it's your kids. So it would have been like, oh, it's Lisa and Bart, but like a cartoon version. So yeah, and I do agree. It did play more on the violence, and I think that was the point of it, because it's like, oh, Marge is such a censor. Like, we're going to give you guys a violent one now. But yeah, there were way less jokes. It was a little bit more horrific. It was actually like more of a scary sketch in terms of the Treehouse of Horror ones. Yeah, I completely agree. That was my number 3 as well.
Though Homer did have an MVP line there, again, showing how bad of a father he is, where he just sits down on the couch and sees what's going on and says, "Oh, how are Bart and Lisa going to
get out of this one?" Yeah. Meanwhile, all their problems in real life were usually caused by him, or as a result of reacting to Homer.
Oh, man.
Then he missed you. They found plutonium. Like, why would you have that in your house?
Was it in his lunchbox?
Yeah.
So I got it. Oh my god.
In the garage or something.
Or yeah, his tools. It felt
His toolbox.
which was spelled wrong. He spelled tools with a U, I think.
Yeah.
Oh, Homer. All right, so yeah, that was our number 3. My number 2 is going to be Hell to Pay. Oh, we did it again. We did it. I love it. Hell to Pay is great. It's the perfect kind of horror. It's the kind of horror that, as we've established while we're talking about it, you could build a whole movie around. They have Michael Caine kind of tested it. But and like just you really could do a full length episode of Simpsons with this, and I think this particular story would have been helped by having a little bit more time to breathe with the horror of Snake's hair causing Homer to do all these things. That would be a cool story to see in like a 22-minute episode of the show. But it was fun. It was creepy. It balanced the two really well. I like it, but not as much as I like the other one.
Yeah, same. I have to say, I thought there were a lot of funnier elements in this one, and I liked it how it was a play on, like you said, the Michael Caine movie, The Hand from like the 80s, and the body parts, like subgenre. And again, it was very timely. Like executions were a big thing. More and more transplants were happening. It was becoming more medically viable during that time period. So it was a very timely episode. And I don't know. Like you said, that could have just been a whole episode. It incorporated more of the characters, which I liked. Like you see Mo dying. Do they have a cereal for people with syphilis or whatever? And then you see him and he's eating his cereal. He's a witness. And then Apu, like, he kills him with the slushy thing. And then you see Chief Wiggum, like, drinking it. And he's like, how long are you going to let me drink this, boys? And then he drinks it more. It's like, what are you doing? Just the little jokes in that one, I think, were, like, more top shelf. Like, it was just funnier. But I liked the imagination to it. Like, obviously the toupee being, like, sentient to a point, right? So yeah, I like that one a lot.
And I think probably the most Simpsons-y joke of the episode is from this, where we have Lisa going like, oh my god, the toupee must be going into Dad's radio. Lisa, we've all figured that out.
Yeah. We've already caught up, Lisa. So pretentious. Yeah, I love that. Where they're like, quiet, Lisa, we've figured it out too. You're not the only one can understand things. Yeah, she's always giving exposition. I'm so glad they included that. That was a great joke.
There was an episode, I don't even know if it was a Treehouse of Horror, but there was an episode where something like that happened, and she did the same thing. And like she's talking about what's going on, and Homer just goes, "What are you, the narrator? Do you remember?" Yeah. What is? Oh, it was the Itchy and Scratchy Land when the robots would come to life. Yeah.
Yeah. Shut up, Lisa. My brother always says to me, like, okay, like, you just say whatever. Like, oh, the science part of it. The facts, Amanda, always bringing up the nomenclature, and I'll be quiet. Sorry. Yeah, like, Jesus. I asked some guy, like, he had a, like, Gucci hat. I'm like, oh, is that a coral snake? Like, I didn't see it was Gucci. And my brother's like, oh, you gotta know the genus of the snake. I'm like, shut up, State. Like, I was just trying to make conversation. I don't know what the fucking brand is. Sorry. Oh, you have a snake on your hat.
Oh, you and your brother need to have a sitcom. I don't know what you guys are waiting for.
Yeah, seriously. He's hilarious. He's good. He's good.
He's good.
He's good.
So that leaves us with our shared number 1. The amazing Starship Poopers. This was just so much fun. Just like with the school bus episode with the gremlin terror at 5.5 feet, I'd forgotten how many jokes they packed second after second after second into this sketch, into watching it again. And I'm just like, man, this is the one. This is it. Like, you have no time to breathe between laughs because you're just they're hitting you. And by the time you reach your Springer, and it's just like every little thing. Like, I got a question for the gross slimy thing.
Homer. No. Yeah, Homer. Yeah, no, it's great because they took something that, again, it's kind of like Close Encounters of the Third Kind, sort of in a way. But I like how they turned it on its head, made it topical for the 90s again, including Jerry Springer, which is a great joke. And, it does date the show, but whatever, it's funny. But it's like you said, there's so many jokes one after the other. It plays into the story really well. You like anytime they have Kang and Kodos, like it's the best. They're the best episodes. Yeah, just the one-liners like "I'm here for my spawn." Like I love that. Like I love it. Like it's so good. And yeah, they just found a way to take that sketch, include again really popular things from the 90s, but keep it The Simpsons. They made it funny. They kind of kept it, scary, obviously, with daughter, and she just grows tentacles. Like when she climbs on the ceiling, I'm like, that's actually scary. Like Homer tries to hit her with the broom and she grabs him and is slamming him. I'm like, oh, that would actually be terrifying. But yeah, they did a good job of like the mix, right? Making it funny, including like, obviously it's a horror. It's a Halloween episode. But yeah, I think they did a great job. So many jokes and good references as well. And Kang and Kodos, fun. Right?
All right. And you know what? As much as it dates the episode, I prefer that to what they've been doing lately. And I'm not the kind of guy who's always shitting on modern Simpsons. Like I like modern Simpsons, but flowers when they're due, the opposite of flowers when it's due. Like, and we've talked about this, how like they'll do, oh, it's the Simpsons in Game of Thrones, and you just Bart just walks out in a Game of Thrones outfit and just kind of stands there, and it's like, look, haha. Yeah, I prefer this because at least they're integrating it, and it works with the story they're telling, and you don't know it's coming. The sketch doesn't start off where like this is a Jerry Springer sketch, like it just naturally unfolds over the course of the story. I prefer that type of dating it much more than something that would happen today where they're just like, what if Stranger Things, but it was Milhouse on the bike?
Yeah,
that's you're just kind of, it's just the Simpsons cosplaying at that point, and it's not as funny.
Yeah, it's nice when they take a story, kind of make it their own and add their Simpsons flair to it, right? And that's where the humor comes in with the Jerry Springer and like combining all these ideas into one, and that's what made this sketch so funny. Like, it's also nice too when they include Kang and Kodos. It's not characters that you see usually in episodes that are not Treehouse of Horror. So when a Treehouse of Horror comes along and they're not in it in one way or another with like a cameo, it's a disappointment in my mind. But I'm a big fan of those characters, so yeah, I'm really glad that they continuously, write new stories where they're included. And yeah, they're more original because they're an original, part of the series. Mind you, it's a play off of UFOs and aliens and stuff like that, but it's more comedic and yeah, it's better when it's not just a straight parody, as you said, where they're plugging The Simpsons into characters that are in an existing story like Game of Thrones, and they're just kind of making it work. It's more original. I prefer those versions as well. Don't get me wrong, I like when they do that too, because it's interesting to see who they plug into certain to certain characters for the story. But yeah, I prefer the episodes that are like this, or where they take a story like that and they kind of turn it on its head, which is it's just kind of neat. Yeah.
That was their bread and butter was turning.
Yeah.
That. So.
Yeah.
Well, that's Treehouse of Horror episode 9. We're almost halfway through our series, Amanda, already.
Crazy. It's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? What do you got for us book-wise today?
Oh, actually, well, today it's a little bit of a non-traditional book, but
ooh, same here.
It is a graphic novel, and since I'm dressed up as Batman, it's actually The Long Halloween.
That's the one that I haven't read that I'm most excited to read.
Yeah, this is probably one of my favorite Batman graphic novels. It's the Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. Mm-hmm. Their animation is great. I have like all of their collection. But yeah, The Long Halloween is one of my favorite Batman comics, specifically because it includes a lot of the villains. And it's kind of a calendar year, like they're going through. I would say the most recent Batman movie, the one with Robert Pattinson, is probably the closest. Like, it's basically the story of The Long Halloween with few liberties. But it's more on the detective side. So like Batman started as a part of Detective Comics, and kind of spiraled it up there. So if you're a big fan of Batman, like I am, as you
Couldn't tell.
couldn't tell. But yeah, this is one of the better ones. Check it out. The Long Halloween.
Yeah, I've always been excited to read that. And I think, no spoilers, but my favorite Batman villain, the Riddler, I think he plays a big part in that one, doesn't he?
He does, yeah. He plays a big part in it.
So yeah, I definitely have to check that out. I also have an unorthodox book recommendation because we're recording this right now on November 2nd, 2025. And you're probably watching it or listening to it a few weeks later, but I am officially now self-published with my new novel, Gindependence. This is the author copy, so the real one doesn't have this crazy bar across the front. This was just my proof copy. But Gindependence is finally out. It's on Amazon, and people can get it. I noticed Amazon, the search engine is screwing with me, though, because apparently there is a DJ named DJ Independence. So if you search the name of the book, you keep getting that, even if you put in my name and Amazon. So I'm going to post the link in this video, and I'm going to post it everywhere I can. But the best way to find it is if you're on Amazon, just search my name, and then my other books will come up, and then you can just click on my name, and eventually you'll see this. But they didn't make it easy to find. Whoever this DJ Independence guy is, I got to go have some words with him. We might have to throw hands, or at least one hand, Michael Caine's hand.
Yeah.
And this book is not finding a place in your Amazon webpage. Mr. Bezos, what is the good word?
Yeah. You have to work with each other.
With each other. With a
With
woman.
each other. Yeah. With a woman. Yeah.
But this is the most personal novel I've ever written. Anybody who has ever had to work in the service industry is going to find something relatable in here. Because I really just took 14 and a half years of working in the service industry that I put up with, and I turned that into a story about a djinn and what he goes through. So I think that there's a lot here that people are going to find relatable and exciting and interesting. And it's just a fun story. And I love these characters, and I can't wait for people to read it and talk about it because I'm really excited for people to check it out. So Gindependence, everybody. It's live already. It's here at last.
Awesome. I can't wait to read it.
Oh, I'm excited.
Find it and buy it. Yeah. You should do it too, everybody. Whoever.
Yes. Please do. There's an ebook. There's this paperback. There's also hardcover. And I'll see what I can do about getting an audiobook. I need a quiet place, about 80 hours, and about 800 cases of water, but I'll do it. And it's also on Kobo. I put it on Kobo because I know that's its own thing, but I got it there for you Kobo folks, you kobolds, whatever you call yourselves. I got you.
Nice. Available on all platforms, mostly.
Yeah. No. Eventually it'll just be me standing on a street corner on a little box, just yelling about to a crowd.
Crying it out.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it for episode 9 of Tales from the Treehouse. Thank you so much for watching / listening / astral projecting yourself into our brains. I don't know. You can devour this show however you want. We're not going to judge you. We'll see you next time for episode 10. Until then, please, for the love of God, don't blame us.
We voted for Kodos.
Hey-o.